फेस भी दिख गया उत्तम जी।
Okay, I think we can begin. Webinar is live now.
Okay,
Yes,
sir.
Yes, ji, Kishore ji, you can begin, sir.
Yeah. Lalit ji, do you want to give some preliminary remarks? Okay, उत्तम जी आप ले रहे हो? Okay.
सर मैं शुरू करता हूँ, यदि मेरे साइड का नेटवर्क वीक हो तो फिर आप संभाल लीजिएगा.
ठीक है. हाँ.
Okay. So friends, welcome to the BBF seminar on a very interesting development that is going to happen very in the near future. That's after 2 days is the CUSPA account. The CUSPA operations and implications. Moving ahead. Next slide, please. Right. Okay. For the CUSPA, we're just getting a conceptual understanding, the operational, the framework and the implications on our operations. Next slide, please. Please. All right. So, what are the main documents that we really need to look at? It is the SEBI circular which came in November 2022. The NSDL operation guidelines, it came in February, and CDSL communique which came in March. Apart from that, we'll also have some more clarifications issued by both the depositories in March, more of for inter-depository aspects and some clarifications on the guidelines. Moving ahead.
तो connect है ना?
Okay, now what is changing?
लेकिन मैं उधर आऊँगा.
Ujjwal, can you handle the mic, please? So CUSA account, as we know it, will get discontinued. We are expected to empty all the accounts and close it before 15th April 2023. Else it will be frozen for debits and credits in case you have some items stuck inside there. And then we have to open a CUSPA account. CUSPA, a very interesting term. Obviously, you have to open all before 31st March. When you open these accounts, please upload all the details to exchanges, because every demat account we open, we need to upload to the exchanges. If you already have an account with a DP, you can simply write a simple letter to existing DP. Both depositories have issued the format. And remember, you can have multiple CUSPA accounts as on today. Next slide, please. What will happen? See, currently, what happens? We get the securities in payout. Payout may either we transfer the shares to the client or we hold it in CUSA. If we hold it in CUSA, then either we sell it off in the market or we return to the client. Now, there's a lot of discomfort in the securities lying with brokers. Brokers kuch bhi nahi rehna chahiye, and even we have no interest in holding securities. So so the new process will have something like this. Whenever a client purchases securities, it will come to us. Now, there'll be two kinds of payouts. So I call it, in my Desi Bhasha, I use it Sada payout and special CUSPA payout. In Sada payout is normal as it goes. For example, if you do a direct payout, upload the data to the CC, the direct payout file, and it goes to them. But in case of CUSPA payout, it will be, the payout will go to the customer, it will be pledged in our favor. Explain ahead. Please, next slide. So this is, I have tried to, we have tried to put a day by day how life is going to move. So let's go on day T. Next slide. So suppose we are sitting on Monday, everything is fine. Today, clients has purchased a lot of securities. Different clients have purchased different securities. Some have credit, some are unpaid. So every evening we upload that breakup for you to take the shares in CUSA. Now that is not going to happen. So suppose there are 20 clients who have purchased securities, who 19 have credit balances or 5 unpaid. So we'll upload a direct payout file कि ये 15 के shares उनके डीमैट अकाउंट में ट्रांसफर कर दो. बाकी 5 का will come in the, we won't give a breakup file, so they'll come in the pool account. Similarly, for auction payout, we'll have to ensure everything comes in the pool account in any case. Next slide. Now that we are T+1, that's a settlement day. Whatever securities come in the account, now we have 2 payout options. One is a sada payout. For example, some client may have paid the next day. So out of those 5 clients, 3 clients have paid. So those 3 clients we just भैया तेरे shares से डीमैट account में सादा payout कर दिया. But apart from that, for those 2 clients who are unpaid, in the past we used to take in CUSA. We won't take in CUSA. We will do a CUSPA payout. In CUSPA payout, the shares will go to the client, but we will give details of our CUSPA account number, which we have just opened. Now, as soon as the shares hit the demat account of the client, automatically, without OTP, without anything, a CUSPA pledge will get created in favor of this new CUSPA demat account. So all shares go to client. So 15 went directly, sada payout, no problem. The items again we sent as a normal sada payout from the pool, which is the pool account to beneficiary account. 2 also went to the client, but that's a CUSPA payout in which it has gone to the client, but the pledge has been created in the name. Abhi pledge create ho gaya. Now what? This is S day, the settlement day, which is T+1. Moving ahead. Next slide, please. Between day S to day S+5, वो जो client का CUSPA payout, CUSPA pledge लगा हुआ है, कोई पैसे देगा, okay, he pays, then we release the pledge, release the CUSPA pledge. This is different from margin pledge, remember. We'll release the pledge. Or some client says, hey, I want to sell the shares. Okay, uska maal bik gaya. Then we either paying, or we release the pledge and using the PO, DDP or physical DIs if the client wants to give, or EDIs, the client does the pay. This is how it will work from S to S+5. So अगले 5 दिन तक we have to monitor the way we are monitoring CUSA. Moving ahead. On day S+5, we'll have to figure out अब करना क्या है. ये these clients, because they have not paid in 5 days, we are supposed to sell off the stocks. Now we have to sell off the stocks in the UCC of the client. You cannot sell anywhere else. And again, we have to give a 1 day prior notice. Ki boss, तेरा payment नहीं आया, मैं तेरा माल बेच रहा हूँ. And then we sell it by S+5. If you do not sell it, you do not do anything, that pledge will disappear automatically on S+7 as per the SEBI circular. So the client has not paid, the shares, securities have gone into the pledge which was there, the pledge has now disappeared. Now it becomes an open position for you, open recovery. Moving ahead. So what are the issues that come out of all this? The first issue, of course, if you do not sell on time. For example, तुम बेचने गए, lower circuit लग गया, नहीं बिका, क्या करोगे? Alright, because pledge तो गायब होने वाला है. तो probably the solution is if the pledge गायब हो गया, then client के पीछे पड़ के margin pledge करा. No. Extra demand charges. There'll be stamp duty on pledge invocation. So if you release the pledge and do a normal paying, fine. But if you do pledge invocation, then all costs of stamp duty comes into place. Tisra, because it is linked to UCC, suppose the client buys on Monday and Tuesday CUSPA pledge payout kar diya. And Wednesday आ गया, Wednesday suddenly there's a SEBI order and उसका UCC बंद हो गया. अब बेच नहीं सकते क्योंकि UCC blocked है. अब आपने बेचा नहीं, अब बेच सकते नहीं हो और 4 दिन बाद उसका pledge रिलीज हो जाएगा. Again, probably the solution is यदि ऐसा situation हो तो CUSPA pledge करके margin pledge करके at least protect yourself and then write to regulator or which authority कि हमारा माल हमको छोड़ दो. But these are the issues that will come. The next issue that comes is CUSPA pledge SEBI circular says will not be counted as margin. Now that creates another set of complication. Suppose the client there's a client जिसका derivatives का position खड़ा है and उसने margin दिया हुआ है. Then he purchases shares worth rupees 1 crore on additional in the cash market. He paid additional 20% margin. And वो CUSPA pledge में चला गया. Next day morning, the T+1 his khata gets debited. 80 lakhs further is payable by him. Even though 1 crore shares is pledged, that cannot be counted. His ledger is minus 80. Old F&O margin, it will get adjusted. So we are next day if the client doesn't pay for the pain. So effectively, directly or indirectly, the entire market moves to यदि cash market पे काम करना है तो पूरे पैसे दो, pain तक पैसे दो, वरना cash में काम मत करो. यदि करोगे तो your other positions may get affected. This is the implication of the SEBI circular, and this matter has been taken up with the MIIs. MIIs also speaking to the regulator. Till such time, moving ahead. So there is a little jugaad we can do. Don't do CUSPA. Is just give unpaid shares, give to the client, and do margin pledge. Some brokers follow this practice, but this practice, when we speak to regulatory authorities, they are not happy with it. They say कि boss एक तो तुम risk ले रहा है, client ने OTP दे दिया तो broker should not take risk, and margin pledge is expected to be margin. It's not supposed to be done for this, and legal implication unknown. So it is best if this is avoided. If you're doing it, you're doing it at some risk to yourself. Jury is out. What will happen to you? Moving ahead. So picking up from a very famous line, जैसे कुछ नए आते हफ्ते रोने लग जाते हैं कि भाई ये हफ्ते साथ अब नया क्या हो रहा है. But all the changes that have come in the long run has been more or less in our benefit. So even this will manage to implement. There'll be some implementation issues, but we welcome
just add to it. I had tears but can't hold it.
Markets, and let's see how it works. If we face practical problems, of course, we'll follow up with the regulator, we'll follow up with the MIs and ask them to issue necessary relaxations. Next slide, please. So again, as a BBF seminar, you could raise electronic hands. Ujjwal bhai will turn on your mic. You can ask the questions. We have BSE, NSE, CDSL, NSGL questions. One of the smartest compliance minds in the Indian capital markets. And let's see how it goes ahead. Before we ask, throw open the discussions to the Q&A. If any MII or anybody else would like to add a point or two, please, this would be a good time.
Hello, sir. Thank you for giving the preamble and giving a clarification to the market regarding the implementation of CUSA. So I just differ on one particular point with respect to the Jugaad, where the envisaging of this CUSPA implementation is to the extent of debit of the client in the books of the extent of debit, the security are to be transferred to the client demat account with a pledging flag of in CUSPA account. And we are not expecting that to be evaded and transferring securities to client demat account and getting a margin pledge. That is not the envisaging of the circular. And with regard to that margin purposes, as we received the representation from the member and member associations, we have taken up with the regulator. We are expecting a revert, as we have represented to the SEBI that to the extent of debit, securities which are pledged with CUSPA need to be considered. So we are expecting a revert from SEBI before the implementation timelines.
Because if you do, Thank you, Sai, for that. Because if you solve my first problem, then I don't need to do jugaad.
Yes,
ठीक है?
yes.
If you yes, the jugaad is majburi because you have the situation where
Yes, sir. I do follow that,
we
but
cannot. We have to count both sides. We cannot count
I
on
think
one
there's
side.
some connectivity issue.
Anyway, thank you for clarifying. Thank you for
Sure.
Okay, so let's open the floor for questions. SRSPL. Who is named SRSPL? You can please ask your question.
One minute video एक बात है थोड़ा दूर कर दे वही जगह है
Yes, please go ahead with the question. Okay. Mr. Sanjay Rane. Okay. Mr. Kanti Das. Okay. Ramavta Chandak.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, I have two questions. First, suppose we are doing the trades of client only after we receive the payment. So, and we are giving direct payout. So, do we need to open a CUSPA account? Or is a practice if we don't give the check, we don't trade? That's all. Basically, it is necessary to open a CUSPA account.
clarifying side. Yeah, we can move ahead. Yeah. Acha, so if I rephrase the question, if a client, if there's a broker जो 100% पेमेंट नहीं आता तब तक वो माल लेने ही नहीं देता, ठीक है? तो ऐसे आदमी को कुस्पा की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ेगी. तो क्या कुस्पा खोलना कंपलसरी है? That's the question, correct?
Right, Uttam ji. Perfect.
So I'm sure that
Uttam ji, one more thing. If you are only doing pro trade, तब भी क्या खोलना जरूरी है CUSPA?
To answer your pro trade question, there is no need of CUSPA when you are not dealing in clientele business. Second thing, with respect to mandatoriness of having CUSPA, if based on your business structure, if you are not allowing client to trade with only margin purposes and you are collecting 100% of clientele funds before the initiation of trade, then it is not mandatory to have CUSPA. If you are having any one of your client is trading in margin based system where the funds are to be collected on T+1+5 basis, then it is the requirement of CUSPA comes into picture.
Thank you.
Okay. Linesh Envil shares.
Yeah, sir. In daily HS file, we have to show that CUSPA position.
Securities which are in client demat account are not to be reported under holding statement submission, which is done on a daily basis, because actual title is with the trading client, not with the member.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. 00007941. Can you please ask a question?
Move to the next now.
Yeah, can you please ask your question? 00007941. Okay, Rakesh Haria.
मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है बेसिकली कि अभी हम लोग ने साई किरण जी ने बोला कि एक रिप्रेजेंटेशन दिया है कि डेबिट जितना पुष्पा का डेबिट जितना अपन वहां पर कंसीडर करेंगे नहीं रिपोर्टिंग के लिए, ये एक साइड हो गया. सेकंड साइड ऐसा है कि अगर समझ लो कि टी डे पे समझ लो क्लाइंट 2 लाख रुपया लेके आ रहा है, 1 लाख रुपीज का उसने 5 लाख का कैश ले लिया कैरी फॉरवर्ड करके और 1 लाख का एफएडओ का पोजीशन बना लिया. तो वो जो एफएडओ का पोजीशन बना लिया है वो सेकंड डे पे भी कंसीडर रहेगा एज इट इज. तो ये जो सेकंड डे पे स्टॉक आ रहा है पुष्पा में, वो स्टॉक मेरा रिलीज नहीं होगा. तो मार्जिन शॉर्टफॉल जितना मुझे पुष्पा में रख सकता हूँ कि नहीं रख सकता हूँ. एज पर सेबी सर्कुलर 3.10 ये स्टॉक नहीं रख सकते अपन मार्जिन रिपोर्ट मतलब पुष्पा में?
Any security as of now, any security which is available as pledge in CUSPA account of the trading member is not considered as margin. That is first. Second, as you said, out of 2 lakh rupees, 1 lakh worth of margin is used in cash market and 1 lakh worth of margin is used in F&O. But on T+1, based on the total obligation, the client is going into debit balances. On T-Day, you have the information of the client going into shortfall. You need to raise your margin shortfall and get the margin shortfall informed to client and get the additional funds from the client to the extent of the margin requirement in F&O. If not, you need to square up the positions before the settlement of the trade, because you can report availability of margins to the extent of available margins which are settled in cash market as your peak available margins, and you need to inform client accordingly. It is the risk management policy has to be in such a way, and proper information has to be given to client.
नहीं, मेरा क्वेश्चन ये नहीं, मेरा हम लोग का क्वेश्चन ये है कि ये जो मार्जिन शॉर्टफॉल आ रहा है उसके अगेंस्ट में मैं पुष्पा में स्टॉक रख सकता हूँ, या मुझे समझ लो कि लेजर उसका 0 है फॉर एन एग्जांपल?
Any stock which is in CUSPA is not a holding account. Securities will be in client account, and there is a pledge, auto pledge created in trading member CUSPA account. So securities are not with the trading member. It is only a pledge which you are having. So any pledge which is with the CUSPA account of the trading member, there the valuation will be 0 for reporting of margins. If you have 1 lakh rupee debit and you have 3 lakh worth of after haircut stock in CUSPA, then also your available margins to be considered is minus 1 lakh only.
नहीं, अभी भी मेरा क्वेश्चन नहीं समझे साई किरण। बेसिकली मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि मार्जिन रिपोर्टिंग तो हो गया। फॉर एग्जांपल क्लाइंट ने अगर पूरा फंड दे दिया, कैश का जितना बाई किया था उतना, उसका लेजर 0 हो गया। F&O में उसका मार्जिन ऑब्लिगेशन है, मार्जिन कुस्पा का स्टॉक मार्जिन ऑब्लिगेशन में कंसीडर नहीं करेंगे, वहां पर शॉर्टफॉल जाएगा। पर जो कुस्पा में हम लोग ने लेन मार्क किया है क्लाइंट के डीपी से ब्रोकर के फेवर में, तो वो स्टॉक मैं होल्ड कर सकता हूँ या नहीं कर सकता हूँ जब भी लेजर 0 हो रहा है या क्रेडिट हो रहा है?
No, in the sense when you don't have ledger debit, you release the margin from, you release the pledge from CUSPA, na? Even if you have the pledge with you, it will not have any impact because you cannot report those securities as availability of margins.
नहीं, क्वेश्चन ऐसा नहीं, क्वेश्चन ये है कि कुस्पा में मतलब जैसे क्रेडिट आ रहा है मुझे रिलीज करना है इरिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ मार्जिन शॉर्टफॉल।
Irrespective of margin shortfall, you have to release the securities. If there is no debit, you have to release the securities to the client account.
Okay.
The functionality of unpaid securities is only to the extent of ledger debit of the client, not with respect to the margin debits.
Okay. Thank you.
अगर कोई क्लाइंट नॉन पीओए क्लाइंट है एंड उसको जो परचेस किया है उसका क्यूस्पा पे हम होल्ड करेंगे, एंड ऑन 7th day हाउ डू वी रिलीज द शेयर्स?
When on last day also, if client is not selling his shares or if client is not paying the obligation amount, trading member can sell the securities and has to invoke the securities from the CUSPA account, so that the same is earmarked for early pay-in and pay-in happens, even if it is a non-POA client.
So if I invoke the shares will not be transferred to our account, company account. It will remain in the client's account.
Depositors, can you please elaborate on this?
Yeah, this is Prashant here from CDSL. So once the securities are invoked, so client account will get debited. Then basically the transaction will get processed in 3 steps. Number 1, client debit, CUSPA credit. Number 2, CUSPA debit, client credit. And number 3 is the early pay transaction execution from client account. So while processing these 3 steps, the securities will not move anywhere else. So basically, ultimately, securities means the early pay transaction will get executed from the client's account.
So pay will 100% take place.
Yes, 100% will take place. Correct.
I have heard that there is some stamp duty related issues there if we invoke the shares.
That is correct. So basically, in the 3 steps, the first step is client debit and CUSPA credit, which is invocation. So in case of invocation, stamp duty is payable. So there basically stamp duty is come in the picture.
Okay. And when CUSPA to client is transferred once again, there also it will come into the picture?
No. There actually it will not come in the picture.
Okay. Okay, fine.
Okay, Roopji?
Yeah, thanks, Ujjwal. This particular question is we are not treating this particular CUSPA stock as the margin. So with that, there can be multiple challenges related to any client position. One is which has already been mentioned by Uttamji in terms of combined position into multiple segments. But second thing, is there any particular reason? Because if we want to say no, delivery should be purchased either with the full cash margin only, because even if client will receive it, the client will pay the fund on T+1 day, then also there is a possibility if client will pay after 10 o'clock or so, then first security will go to CUSPA account. And post that, if that security will be released, then also it will take time in terms of coming back that particular security into place. So effectively that bringing that security into margin form, that will also take time. So any particular reason of not at all treating this security as a margin security, because debit is already there on one side. So effectively it will have a double debit by this particular way. One side security is not at all considered even for the, because in partial payment also you need to hold the more security, otherwise margin will not be there even in cash market. I'm not going to the F&O side. Mr. Sai, if you can clarify.
Sorry, I was just unmuting myself.
Yeah.
With respect to the debit balance, which you have clearly specified, in this is we have discussed the same thing. If client had an obligation in cash market and the securities are being received in payout, those need to be transferred and has to be auto placed to the account. As you rightly said, there will be a debit balance where the securities will not be considered. We have represented to SEBI as we got representation from the member associations. So the matter is under discussion, but envisaging here of SEBI is like, in the sense, if trading member is allowing client to buy onto this margin functionality for T+1+5 securities, then those securities will not be considered as availability of margins. The only context here was usage of CUSPA as an beneficiary account or an collateral account. If we consider it as an pledge account, and it will be considered as a margin account. So the context, but what we have raised with SEBI is to the extent of debit, if it can be considered, then a double impact of debit will not be there onto the client as well as onto the trading.
Right, Mr. Sai, thanks for that. But here one more thing which is there, like you have mentioned that to the extent of debit or something. Either we will say, yeah, these segments we need to treat completely at a separate level and nothing will be mixed. Then it's a completely different thing. Otherwise, it will be difficult, because suppose a client has bought 1 lakh worth of security, and if haircut is there 50% or something, naturally broker has received the 50,000 rupee. He will not able to release even a single paisa of that particular security, and entire security will be there in CUSPA, despite 50,000 rupees came from the client. Broker will not able to release. So effectively, it will not be to the extent of debit only. It will completely, that security will not at all be for any particular use. And that can create a really big problem in even cash market business also. So that's how I personally feel. It's a big change.
To add on to that, in the sense, when we say to the extent of debit after appropriate haircuts as per the RMS policy of the trading member. If it is 50% haircut or 40% haircut or exchange where, whatever is feasible for the trading member based on their RMS policy, they can have their haircuts and can hold the securities in CUSPA.
Fine. Okay. Thanks.
Mehul ji?
हेलो
Yes.
सर, अगर हम लोग सिक्योरिटी होल्ड ही नहीं करते तो भी कुस्पा अकाउंट ओपन करना जरूरी है?
If you are dealing in clientele business and you are allowing client to buy in T+1+5 way, then yes, you need to have the CUSPA account, because any day you will not be knowing that today I'll be allowing client to trade in margin
But
based.
if we are giving direct payout to the client, then also.
No, it is a residual risk to the trading member, and that this is a functionality to the trading member wherever he is allowing client to buy basis the margins. If trading member is only dealing in 100% upfront payment, then it is not mandatory.
Okay.
Okay. 000794.
Yes, sir, it is here. My two question is there. Suppose we are depository participant of CDSL and the client is having demat account with us, as well as the client which is registered with us, they are having their NSDL account also. So in case of the client having debit balance and we have released the security, we have marked the CUSPA as a claim, and
There is
as
a
per
echo.
we have sold that securities.
There is a disturbance out here. We are unable to hear you.
For the paying purpose. Is there any intervention of the client will be required for the paying?
Can you please repeat? थोड़ा आपका आवाज कट गया था. There was an interference in the background.
सर मेरा दो क्वेश्चन है. पहला क्वेश्चन ये है कि मेरे पास जो क्लाइंट रजिस्टर है उसका सपोज NSDL का अकाउंट है, जिसका मेरे पास ना ही DDPI है ना ही क्लाइंट का POA है मेरे पास में. S+5 पे मैंने सेल कर दिया सिक्योरिटीज. वो पहले कुस्पा में प्लेज मार्क था. अभी मेरा कोई इंटरवेंशन रिक्वायर्ड है या क्लाइंट का इंटरवेंशन रिक्वायर्ड है, या ऑटोमेटिकली वो रिलीज होएगा और वो अर्ली पेइंग मार्क हो जाएगा क्लाइंट के अकाउंट से? मेरा ये इंटेंशन है कि मैं कहीं रिस्क में तो नहीं रहूंगा आउटसाइड DP अकाउंट के.
Okay, I will take this question. This is Prashant from CDSL. So as you have said, basically you are having your pool account in CDSL, but client who is an unpaid client is having account in NSDL. So basically you will be required to do this unpaid transfer first. That means basically you will be required to transfer the securities from your pool account to NSDL client account by mentioning the CUSPA transfer. And in this transaction, you will also be required to maintain one CUSPA with NSDL. So in the transaction, you will mention two accounts, one NSDL client account and your CUSPA, which is maintained at NSDL. So first of all, securities will get transferred to NSDL client account. Then NSDL will identify the transaction as a CUSPA transfer. And based on the CUSPA account which you have provided in the transaction, immediately after the transfer, securities will be auto-pledged in favor of CUSPA, which is maintained at NSDL. So that is step number one. Number two, so basically if client pays in next 5 trading days after the payout, that is fine, you can release the securities, but you will be required to release the securities in NSDL by making a request of release to NSDL DB. Second, if a client doesn't pay and you sell the securities, so even in that case also, you as a broker will be required to initiate a confiscation request at NSDL to your NSDL DP, so that NSDL will initiate a confiscation request wherein client securities, as I mentioned earlier, client securities will get debited and it will be get credited to CUSPA. Then from CUSPA, it will again come back to client account, and from client account, the early paying transaction will get executed. And on paying day, it will be considered for paying. So this is how this transaction flow will take place.
Okay. So in that case, sir, client cannot do anything during these transition period. Is there any possibility to move securities from his account after receiving the free securities in the account?
No, once the basically securities are transferred as a CUSPA transfer, there is no control of client unless and until clients will pay and you will release the security as a broker. Or if he doesn't pay, you will initiate the confiscation or the invocation request to DP, and then the securities will go for pay. So basically, client will not have to play any role in this transaction.
Okay. And even though the client is having any overdue transaction there in that would not also happen.
No. So basically, if your question is the securities will get utilized against the overdue transactions? So no, those securities will not get utilized against the overdue transactions.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay. 007941. Is there another question? Okay. 500112.
We should actually usually request them to disclose their identity also, because just writing this number actually doesn't help.
Okay. Anybody who has any identification which is not a name, please rename yourself so that it's easier for us to call you. Sabita?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes. Please
Yeah.
go ahead.
I have this question regards DP account. When the client sells the security that are under CUSPA before S+5 or so, then will it attract stamp duty for invocation also? Or will it be released just like that?
Yeah, madam, this is Prashant from CDSL.
Yeah, Prashant.
First of all, these unpaid securities, logically, those will be sold by a member. So if the client doesn't pay, so I think it will be decided by a broker. So it will not be that way logically sold by the client, but of course using client's UCC. Then a point number two, if the securities are sold, then the confiscation request will be initiated by you as a broker. And in that leg of transaction, yes, stamp duty will be required to be paid by the pledgee. So in this case, CUSPA account being a pledgee account of broker, so broker will be required to pay the stamp duty to deposit.
Okay, but then client has the option to sell before S+5, no?
Yeah.
Yes,
so
client will
basically,
have an option. Client will have an option to sell before S+5.
Okay, so in that case also the stamp duty will be chargeable.
So this question actually, madam, I'm not clear, because when you say client is having an option to sell the securities, is this sale against the outstanding dues or it's another
outstanding dues against outstanding dues?
So I mean, my understanding is broker will decide to sell the securities. No, I mean, Mr. Sai, if I mean you have understood this question.
Before T+1+5, if trading member is selling, sorry, if client is selling, client can sell with the option of POA or with the option of EDIS. In that case, invocation or confiscation will not come into picture, and there will not be any kind of additional charges. If trading member is selling, then the option of invocation comes into picture post the deadline has elapsed from T+1+5. Then invocation comes into picture and the applicable charges will come into picture.
Okay. There's one more thing, Prashant. Supposing on T day, the broker is sending a margin pledge request and client accepts the margin pledge request prior to the shares falling in the crediting in the account. Then on T+1 day, when securities are to be transferred to CUSPA account because he has not paid, will prior advance pledge acceptance override the CUSPA auto pledge?
So you're saying, so whether the CUSPA pledge can be executed in advance? Is it your question?
No. Margin pledge request can be done prior.
Yeah, that is correct.
Supposing on T day, he accepts the margin pledge request and the shares will come on T+1 day, right? On T+1 day, the broker is also giving the request to transfer to CUSPA account.
Okay.
So already, yeah.
Can I
This CUSPA,
reiterate the question in the sense if today client has accepted the margin pledge, which is an advance pledge which client has created where basis the request of the trading member. Tomorrow, if trading member is transferring securities to the client demat account with an flag of unpledged securities, will the CUSPA pledge will override the advance pledge instruction accepted by the client, or will it be advance pledge which will be created first? That was the question, I suppose.
Yes.
Madam, actually, I need to check this question. Actually, I don't have answer readily available with me.
Okay, I'll give you a call separately on this.
Yeah, please.
And what would be the pledge charges for CUSPA invocation?
Madam, pledge actually, as far as charges are concerned, in CDSL, so the charge structure is not finalized yet. So once it is finalized, it will be issued through committee. So you will come to know through CDSL committee.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Then next question as well.
I think some people have typed in the chat box. May we request them to please speak up and ask their question? It will be for better clarity and understanding. Instead of writing in the chat box, they can speak and ask the question.
Sure, Lalaji. Next, Sameer Parker.
Yeah, Vishal, sorry. Yeah. Pardon?
Yeah.
अरे कल हम लोग पूछे थे ना कि अगर एक मिनट
Yes, Sameer, go ahead, please.
Yeah, hi. Can you hear me? Yes. Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. So I have one query. So if suppose we have replaced the client's stock against ledger debit, and we have a CDSL setup, depository setup, and all our clients is having CDSL DP. And if in between, suppose we are holding the stock in CUSPA account, and in between that, if client has sold, then do we compulsory release that by invoking process, or we can release that stock in client demat account, and then we can create a block mechanism? Hello.
Yeah. So actually, as per the CUSPA guidelines by SEBI, so basically, if the unpaid client pays you, then you will be required to initiate a confiscation transaction or the invocation transaction, wherein early payment will be generated by the depository system automatically.
Okay. So by default, we have to do that invocation process.
Yes, correct.
Okay. And if same thing related, if same the client is having outside NSDL account and we have created the pledge counter pledge from our CDSL demat account, then the first stock will go to client demat account, then a reversal pledge will create to our NSDL CUSPA account.
No, yes, so is your question
understanding is correct?
Yeah, understanding. Just I want to check my understanding is right, no?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you then.
Okay, Linesh ji, annual shares.
Yes, sir. Good evening, everybody. Hello.
Yeah. Yes, Linesh ji, good evening.
Yeah. If CUSPA account, we have to go for NSDL and CDSL. Both we have to open a CUSPA account at both the depositories. Is it necessary?
So actually, if you are having clients account in both the depositories, CDSL as well as NSDL.
Yeah.
So yes, you'll logically you'll be required to open CUSPA in both the depositories, because you may be having a client who is unpaid either in CDSL or NSDL, where you will require the CUSPA account in each of the depositories.
Okay, that means that IDT transfer, that means it won't happen that way. IDT pledge won't be there.
No. Actually, there will not be any IDT pledge as such. But what may happen is, if as a broker you received payout either in CDSL or NSDL, and if the client is having account in other depository, so in this case, plus first of all, the IDT transaction will take place, and subsequently the pledge will happen in the depository where client is holding the account. So for that, as a broker, you need to have CUSPA account in that deposit. Example, if you are a broker, you received payout in CDSL, but your client is having account in NSDL, who is an unpaid client. तो आपको NSDL में एक CUSPA account maintain करना पड़ेगा. Then you will initiate IDT transfer from CD your pool account to NSDL client account. वो transfer पहले होगा, client account में चला जाएगा, and immediately as a part of this execution only, securities will be auto pledged in favor of CUSPA account, which is with NSDL.
Okay, got your point. That means
to add on to
the
that,
same way
only,
vice versa.
the only point here is any trading member who is having clients with different depositors. Let's say if the trading member is having clients with NSDL and CDSL both, then the trading member has to have CUSPA accounts in both NSDL and CDSL. If they have only CDSL clients, then no need of opening NSDL CUSPA demat accounts or vice versa.
Okay.
Correct.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, Ashish ji.
Yeah, so for CUSA account, the way the deadline is of 15th April for closure. So for opening of CUSPA, is there any specific deadline during which we have to open the CUSPA account? That is first question. And second one is we have to close the account, CUSA account on the same day, and on the same day only we have to open the CUSPA account, or there could be a time gap between closure and opening of CUSPA?
Sir, as it was clearly specified, implementation of CUSPA has to start from 1st of April. So securities which are to be transferred to the client will have to be done. In the sense, no, there will not be any transfer of security to the CUSA account post 31st of March.
Correct.
And any securities which are in your CUSA account, basis T+2+5 basis, you have to either liquidate or release, transfer the securities to the client demat account before 15th of April, and no new transfer to the CUSA account.
Okay, but for opening of CUSPA, means
in the sense, you should have been opened this account for implementation to start from 1st of April. You should have already opened the account.
Okay, and if suppose no, so why I'm asking, because see, currently we are not giving any margin trade facility. We are on the discount broking setup side. So, you know, we are just taking the full money from the client and then only we are allowing him to trade. So that's why as of now, we have not opened the CUSPA. We have CUSA in place. So we want to close the CUSA and we want to open the CUSPA. But if suppose both will happen on the different dates, then do I have to go for whole set of account opening form, KYC documents again, or on the basis of the same old document which clearing member has submitted at the time of CUSA opening, I can use the same and I can open the account?
Okay, I will take this question. So basically, ideally, you should be opening the CUSPA account in advance, because I think both the depositor have, given this provision to open CUSPA account. Much before the release date, that is 31st March. But even if, for example, if you are not opened CUSPA till now, so you can open the CUSPA even after today. So it may be after 1st April also. Okay. So, and it is not necessary that you will be required to open CUSPA on the same day when you will close the CUSA account. So in system, basically, there is no such requirement. But what may happen is, if you have closed CUSA and if you delayed opening of CUSPA, so this execution of CUSPA transfer, you will not be able to do in the depository system. So that may happen. So to avoid that, actually, it is advisable that you open CUSPA well in advance, that is prior to this release date of 31st March.
Okay. Okay, but post 31st March also system will allow me to open the CUSPA. Say I will try to open on say 2nd of April, 3rd of April, something like that. Then still system will allow me to open.
Yeah. CDSL system will definitely allow you that, sir. For NSDL, you may check with
even NSDL system will also allow the same, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, SKS.
Sir.
So good evening.
Good evening, sir. Please go ahead.
Sir, whatever we have heard till now, I have just a little confirmation onto that. First thing is, if we are a CDSL broker and we have clients only on CDSL, then do we need to open an account with NSDL for that CUSPA?
No, sir. Logically, then you are not required to open account with NSDL, CUSPA account with NSDL, because you are all your clients are having account with CDS.
Okay. Second, sir, for the holding reports which we are submitting on a weekly basis to the exchanges, there we used to mention the stock which was available in CUSA earlier, the account that was. Now CUSPA will be having an stock entry only. There will be no stock into that account, na?
No need of any reporting of securities which are pledged in CUSPA account.
Okay.
As it is a pledge which is created from the client demat account to the trading member account, no need of reporting the same thing under holding daily submissions.
So, sir, as far as and when we get stock of payout in our pool accounts, we will be transferring the stock to clients account who are having a credit balance, and those who are having debit balance, their stock will also be transferred to their demat accounts only. But then a pledge transaction will be created whereby stocks will be shown as a pledge stock in their account, and in our CUSPA there will be an entry showing that this person is having a pledge account, pledge stock which is under debit balance.
Yes, at the time of transfer only, you will be selecting that flag that this particular transfer is an unpaid transfer which is happening to the client demat account. If you look into the operation modalities which depositors have shared with you, in that it has clearly specified depositors to add on to that.
Okay, sir. And if in any case we are transferring the complete shares to client, whether it is credit or debit, then that can be questionable by exchange side, as earlier said by.
Yes, it is not envisaged as per the circular. It is not the compliance which you are expecting.
Okay, sir. This is what I think. This is the main understanding out of this complete thing, na, I guess.
Yes, yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Naresh ji.
Okay.
हेलो हेलो
हेलो यस नरेश जी
हाँ सर, ये बेसिकली जो ये CUSPA जो मैकेनिज्म है, ये वो कस्टडी क्लाइंट के लिए एप्लीकेबल होगा क्या? कस्टडी जिसका सीपी कोड रहता है बेसिकली. हेलो हेलो
They are exempted from this CUSPA transfer, sir.
तो सर उनके लिए पे आउट
every security settlement of custody clients is done directly by the custodian. So today also, whenever there is a security which is being paid as an towards the settlement, it directly comes from the custody to the CC. And if you are making any transaction at the trading member level, you are not holding any securities of custodian.
But so in this case, yeah, in this case, if the trades basically it is not confirmed as clearing house by the custody, so obligations to settle the trade will come on broker. So the shares will be delivered. I mean, will be received by broker from exchange in the pool account. So in normal instance, if the client has not given any instruction, did not match, we used to keep the stock in the CUSA account till 5 days, and then we used to now
when securities are, whenever a trade goes for a DVP, that is what is your point is?
Yeah, correct.
When trade goes for a DVP is considered as an own obligation. It is not to be transferred to CUSA. If you are doing it, it is not the envisage. The securities will be in the own account because the obligation comes out to own.
No, sir. No. See, you're talking. I mean, not. I mean, see, any trade which has entered which has entered with the CP code, which has a custody. Now, custody confirms the trade on T+1 by 7:30 AM IST. If they don't confirm the trade by that time, then the trade gets devolved on broker. Then what happens in the buy trade? We receive the stock from the exchange and we deliver the stock to the custody. Only when the custody confirms that they have received the client instructions and trade in match and the client has given the funds to them. Prior to that, we used to not deliver the stock to them. So we used to keep it in CUSA account for the custody clients, I'm telling you.
Even for custody clients, custody clients, it is not envisaged to keep it in CUSA because the obligation which you have received from the CC is under the obligation of own, not on the obligation of the custodian client. Because the custodian has rejected your trade, and the shares are in your own account as your own obligation. DVP converted into your own obligation. Securities came to you as you are getting this trade settled out of the CC purview. Then you are receiving funds from the custodian and you are transferring securities to the custodian client.
Correct.
So
Correct.
that will be done from your own this thing. For that, there are some reason codes which depositories should clear.
No, but where we will keep the stock, because see, CUSA account is not in the picture. So if the custodian has not, the client has not given the instruction, it is not matched, then we have we used to move the stock from pool to CUSA, because within 24 hours, if you don't move,
It will not move to CUSA. It will not move to CUSA. It will move to your own account, because the obligation is met by the member own funds, and it is the own trade which the CC has given you as an own trade, not as a clientele trade.
So you
We
didn't
can
understand the question, but
deliberate further on to this with respect to how you can transfer. We can connect offline.
Connect offline.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
But see, my question is, like you said, we can connect offline. That's it. But we have only like 2 days remaining. So we have asked the question to even NSDL, from which we have not got response like from past 2 weeks. So this question is important, because we have major clients with the custody certain clients, and we'll get a scenario anytime. Like, so if we keep in pool account, penalty will be levied by the depository. So there is no other option given.
Pool account. You have to transfer it to your own account, and from there you have to settle. It is not your. It is the own account obligation as per the CC. If you look at DVP का functionality वही है. If custodian is not accepting your trades, then trades are of the own.
तो वैसे ओन अकाउंट क्या होगा कि पूल अकाउंट है, CUSA अकाउंट है, CUSA तो बंद होने वाला है, तो कहाँ मतलब
it becomes principal to principal transaction afterward, now when you settle it.
No, we have to settle the trade with the, we have to, if the client fulfills his obligation, we have to release the stock to the custody only. So when you say you have to keep in your own account, which account, like in own? अभी तक हम लोग CUSA मूव कर रहे थे, as per SEBI guidelines, सारे स्टॉक कस्टडी सेटल होने दो या फिर नॉन कस्टडी होने दो. बट अभी नॉन कस्टडी का तो क्लियर है कि ब्लॉक मैकेनिज्म होने वाला है, अर्ली पेन होने वाला है, और कस्टडी क्लाइंट के लिए ब्लॉक मैकेनिज्म एग्जाम था, इवन यूसीसी वैलिडेशन वाज एग्जाम. तो CUSPA अगर उनको एप्लीकेबल ही नहीं, तो सेकंड हम लोग को कुछ दिया ही नहीं. व्हाट इज द वे आउट नेक्स्ट? बिकॉज़ विद इन 2 days विल हैव, देयर इज नो ऑप्शन फॉर अस. if we get any trade, 1st April को DVP हो गया, 2nd को पे आउट आ गया, so what we can do for that, that stock?
You need to have an own principal account in which you will be transferring the securities, because you are meeting the obligation from your own funds.
Correct.
The settlement is met by your own funds.
Correct.
If you are meeting your settlement obligation by your own fund, the securities are to be transferred to the own principal account. If you are off the market, if you are settling with the custodian and the client, the funds have been transferred by the custodian client to you, and you are transferring securities back to them. You cannot keep those securities in CUSA, because the obligation is of the own.
You mean to say we can keep in our own account till 5 days, or what? How many days?
It is not 5 days, sir. Let's say after 5 days also, if that custodian client or whoever it is, he is not paying you, then what will you do?
We have to sell the stock. That's what we used to follow. We used to follow
where you will sell the stock? In the client
sell the stock in the client UCC. Earlier when the CUSA was there, we used to sell the stock in client UCC, and since we had the stock in our CUSA account, we used to do the early paying. The pay to the exchange, and whatever profit and loss was there, we used to adjust it in the client's account. I think that is what every other brokers were doing,
not the client actually, because the obligation has transferred from client to own on the DVP itself.
But when will the clarity come, this is not this is exempt for custodian client, because until now circular has not come in yet. The CUSPA mechanism is not mandatory for, or is exempt for the custodian client.
What is the definition of unpaid?
Hello.
Hello.
Says that you used our own funds.
So just asking, when the circular which has come by NSDL or even SEBI, when SEBI had come up with the block mechanism circular, they had come on the October 27. That block mechanism is not applicable to custody client. Even UCC validation is not applicable. But since this has come into picture again, this CUSPA thing, the SEBI or even the depository have not come into, clarified that this is not applicable custodian client in their circulars. And what is the other way around like process we used to follow? Because I think other brokers on the street also should follow the same process. They used to move the stock into CUSA account, and from there they should sell within 5 days before CUSPA coming into the picture. So custody client के लिए I think कुछ clarity अब तक फिलहाल है आया नहीं है.
I think you should take it offline, right? Let us move ahead. Yeah.
Okay, Kishore ji. Paresh ji?
Yes, sir. My question is that we are doing trade only on before the credit the client of what amount we wish to purchase. There also I do have to open a CUSPA account. We are not allowing any debit transaction to the client.
Sir, as we have clarified on this particular point, if you are allowing client to the extent of total valuation with upfront collection of total value, then it is not mandatory. If you are by any means for any client, if you have allowed, then it will be a residual risk of the trading member without having a CUSPA account.
No, sir. No, we are not allowing any clients to do
It is not mandatory to have. It is not mandatory to have. But if you are not dealing in any kind of exposures, additional exposure to the client, then it is not mandatory.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello.
पुनीत जी?
हाँ, सॉरी वंस अगेन मैं थोड़ा क्लेरिफिकेशन चाहता हूँ कि अगर मेरा क्लाइंट पीओए क्लाइंट है एंड वो अनपेड सिक्योरिटी क्यूस्पा में उसका स्टॉक गया है, प्लेज हुआ है, एंड इफ ही सेल्स बिफोर S+5, then I can just release and do the paying, or I invoke the sales.
You can release and do the paying.
Okay, and if I am doing it on the 5th day, then I have to invoke.
If client has sold the shares where you are having POA, there is no need of invocation because client has sold the shares. You directly make the paying from the client demat account where you are having POA.
So in case of POA, we have to invoke the sale. It will be in case of a non-POA client.
For trades where client has sold the securities, there is no need of invocation because you are not confiscating the securities of the client. In case trading member is squaring up the positions for non-payment of funds or non-reducing the debits, then trading member can invoke the securities to meet the settlement obligations wherever.
Even if a broker is selling with the consent of the client, because say he is reaching to the T5 day, and if I sell with the intimation.
If broker is selling with the consent of the client, it is not an RMS square up. It is normal trade which trading member is doing on behalf of client. Then it will be a normal
so no need to invoke.
No need to invoke.
Okay. And in case of non-POA, we have to invoke, whether it is on a 2nd, 3rd, 4th day or 5th day.
Then if client is selling, definitely you will be today also. If non-POA client is coming and selling from his demat account, you will ask him via EDIS.
Yes.
Once he accepts EDIS for normal sale transaction, whether it is CUSPA account or it is a normal pledge, basis the release of pledge, you can do the paying. No need of invocation.
So even if the stock is lying in a CUSPA, he can give the EDIS.
EDIS basis the EDIS, you can make the paying.
Okay. And okay, fine. That's fine.
Sai Kiran ji? Yeah, Sai Kiran ji. Have a query about the old CUSA account. Like we said, till from the 1st of April, we cannot transfer the shares to the client CUSA account, and we have to transfer the CUSPA account only, right? and the CUSPA security valuation should be a 0 for margin obligation purpose. But till the time of CUSA old account will be cleared by 15th of April, can we consider the security value as nowadays we are considering for margin reporting?
Till the migration time, April 15th, any securities which is lying in the demat account of the CUSPA of the trading member, then that can be considered towards margin.
Okay.
Hmm.
And second thing is that कि एक scenario है कि where client has paid me 1 lakh rupees and client bought 5 lakh rupees shares. अभी T+1 पे client का first snapshot में जब भी margin आएगा, I can reverse the bill as settlement note happens and I'll report the margin as collected.
No, I didn't get your question. Sorry.
On a T day, client having a 1 lakh rupees of credit.
Okay.
And T day, client has bought 50,000 of rupees margin in a equity segment where he has bought 2.5 lakh rupees shares.
Okay.
And remaining 50,000, he has taken the position in F&O.
Okay.
On T+1 day, for first snapshot, client will be settlement note happens, so client will be required to pay the 1 lakh of rupees margin, which is 50,000 for equity and 50,000 for derivative segment.
Yes. Yes.
And we can reverse the bill, which is not due. So we can say कि first snapshot में client has a sufficient collateral with us, and we can report the collected margin.
Yes.
Till the after the 10:30 settlement happens, but the shares are coming from the payout are at 12:30 or 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. So onward the first snapshot, client will be as shown as a shortfall.
No, if you have not collected additional funds, then definitely as end of day, the securities are transferred to CUSPA as an auto pledge, and the ledger debit will be of 1.5 lakhs because you have purchased stock of 2.5 lakhs with a ledger credit of 1 lakh. Then there will be a debit of 1.5 lakhs and a CUSPA auto pledge of 2.5 lakh stocks. So there is no margin to report for F&O.
Okay, and in the same case where client has given me advance OTP, so once I received the shares from the payout, I directly transfer the shares to client demat account and I'll receive the pledge from the client, margin pledge, not a CUSPA. So the pledge will be received in the depository system, like said, it will be come at 1 or 1:30. So for second snapshot, which will be timed around 12 to 12:30. So we can say कि the margin was collected for second snapshot also, as we have advance OTP confirmation or depository system showing us the overdue instruction, pledge instruction in their demat account.
Right. With respect to that 1.5 lakhs of debit, you have to transfer to the extent of debit after haircut value to your CUSPA auto pledge account to secure the debit of that particular client. And anything which is in excess, you can transfer to the client demat account as a free. You can have an advance pledge or a pledge directly to the trading member account, but to the extent of ledger debit, securities are to be pledged in CUSPA account.
Okay, and if my risk policy said we are allowing the client to give an exposure, and our risk policy allow us to transfer the shares directly to the client's
It is
POA.
not the risk policy, sir. This is as per coming. This is coming out of SEBI circular, so that will definitely override your risk policy, categorically specifying that to the extent of ledger debit, you need to transfer securities to the CUSPA account. That is what is NDCSGF.
So it is a compulsory कि जितना भी debit balance है, we have to park that shares in CUSA account only. CUSPA
Yes.
account.
Yes.
We cannot transfer the shares to the client.
To the extent of the ledger debit, you need to have the secured stock in your CUSPA account.
Okay, and the remaining part where I have advance OTP and I'll transfer the shares to the client, and the pledge received by one after the payout received from the CC. Till that time, I can say कि I have collected a sufficient margin based on the OTP, advance OTP confirmation.
Advance OTP is not the confirmation of pledge. because security is getting transferred or not transferred is not sure.
But
Because
sir,
you may or you may receive securities, it's because there can be payout short from the CC also. So we cannot consider that advance pledge confirming the OTP coming into picture, and that the confirmation of advance pledge OTP is not considered as an availability of margins. And added to that, as I said, securities which are the client who is in ledger debit, to the extent of that, it has to be transferred to the CUSPA as an auto pledge, post which wherever you have the securities in excess, you can transfer it to the client demat account as a free collateral.
sir, got your point, but here is the problem ki till the settlement not done, like 10:30, so we can reverse the debit bill and we can report as collected to the client. But after the settlement settlement process has started at CC level, and till the time we are not receiving the payout, client will become a shortfall.
So what at one end of day, what is the obligation of the client, sir?
End of day obligation is that I have a security up to the debit balance which is in CUSPA account, and the remaining stock are repledged to me on the margin pledge instruction, which is I received on a 2 p.m. After the payout received from the CC, I will transfer the shares to client, and shares will be reverse credited to my margin pledge account in a pledge form. But the timestamp of the pledge is 2 p.m.
Okay.
So there is a gap. Once settlement started at the 10:30, and till the time I received the payout, physical payout from the CC, there is a time gap. So first snapshot के लिए I'll say कि we have a sufficient collateral, a settlement not happen. But settlement cycle in two leg, na? One is a pay-in and second is a payout. And we are not receiving the shares till the payout happens. So can we say कि till the time of the payout we can reverse the obligation of the due date?
Even for that particular case, even if you reverse the obligation bill and security is getting transferred to the CUSA, there will be a margin shortfall in your F&O position.
Sorry.
In this case, which we categorically
एक प्लेन केस लेते हैं. मैं आपको ये कुछ भी पोजीशन नहीं है, F&O नहीं है, कुछ भी नहीं है. Client has given me 1 lakh rupees on a T day, and he has bought the 1 lakh of rupees shares on a T day. Like on a T plus 1 day, there is a no debit balance in a client account. I'll receive the payout of shares of rupees 1 lakh from the CC.
Okay.
And I'll transfer the shares directly to the client on a advance OTP. Like client has confirmed me a advance OTP on a T day itself.
Right.
In the morning, client has come to me and said ki I want to buy a 1 lakh of rupees additional share based on I have provided you OTP. Or we can say ki before the 10:30 client has come, I have a sufficient collateral of 80,000 of rupees with me as settlement not happens, right?
Right.
So I allow the client to buy a 1 lakh of rupees shares on a T plus 1 day, which additionally consume a 20,000 of rupees margin. On a first snapshot, client have received a 40,000 of rupees margin requirement, and I have a sufficient collateral.
Here in this case, we categorically specify that upfront margins has to be there. Confirmation of advance pledge, confirmation of your pledge with depository has to be taken. So in this case, if trading member is giving limit to the client, assuming that the securities which are being transferred to the client demat account will be pledged in favor of trading member, it is the residual risk which the trading member is taking. They can report it as an availability of margins. If the securities gets pledged to the trading member, they can report it as available of margin. But if it doesn't happen, then they cannot claim that we have tried but it failed.
No, sir, I cannot say ki if security are not
pledge is successful, then definitely you can report it as an availability of margins.
Yeah, and the pledge time is 2 p.m. and the second snapshot required a 20,000 margin. So I can also say ki I have a margin sufficient.
Upfront margin collection ke liye, in the sense, as of now, we are not getting into the timestamps. However, basis the confirmation of the depository pledge, On end of day, we will be verifying the things, but it is the residual risk with the trading member will be taking.
But we can say it has to be a pledge by end of day only.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And yeah, once yeah, that's all from my side.
Okay.
Salish? अजय हाँ
Yeah.
सैलिश बोलिए
Hello. Sir, am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. Sir, the question is with regards to this CUSA account, which earlier where units were being transferred. In case of a MF, I am talking about first, where the clearing corporation delivering unit to the client's demat account directly through DPC. Now, in case of any scenario where the client's demat account is frozen, where the securities are not being credited through DPC, so such units were getting transferred into CUSA account. Meaning by we were getting that unit as a member in our pool account, CM pool account, and as the pool needs to be clear within 24 hours, we used to transfer that share into, units into CUSA account. But what about once after 1st April, as the CUSA will be closed, so how such scenario will be handled? How we can handle such scenario, sir, where the client's demat is frozen and clearing corporation is not able to deliver that unit?
Depositories?
So basically, in this case, securities will remain in the pool account only if the client account is frozen and the securities are not transferable. Neither the auto pledge can be created, so it will remain in the pool account.
So sir, that 24 hours wala apna jo hai, that compliance that the pools needs to be clear, where if it is doesn't get clear, then the penalties are being charged to the member. So वो यहाँ पर नहीं लगेगा ना?
Penalty to lagega, but then basically maybe while issuing the guidelines, I don't know whether such a situation is envisaged. Maybe we'll require to represent such a kind of scenario.
Okay. I believe this applies for the shares also, where the scripts for units which are being transferred to the member pool and member is not able to deliver that for shares also.
Yeah, that is correct.
Right. Okay. So if in case any penalties are being charged, then we may get in touch with the depository as of now. I think we can consider that way.
Yeah, so basically we'll be required to get it clarified from SEBI because that the current guidelines, I don't think it mentions anything on for the cases like this.
Okay. ठीक है.
अजय जी हाँ विनोद जी
Hello.
हाँ विनोद जी go ahead please.
Sir, good evening. Sir, we have few stocks in CUSA account. So those stocks are already suspended. So as per the circular, we have to close the account by April 15th, right? CUSA, old CUSA account. So in this case, what we should do, sir? Because if the script is active, we can transfer to the client. So the script is already suspended. So as per the circular, we have to close before April 15th. So where do we have to move that stocks?
So basically you're saying that some scripts are suspended. So that is the reason you're not in a position to make the CUSA deal.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so basically what you can do is you can initiate a closure. Okay, so once you initiate a closure, the status of the account will become marked for closure. Okay, so basically you have initiated a closure, and subsequently whenever that suspension will get removed and you will be in a position to transfer the securities and make CUSA nil, so on that day it will get closed. So till that time it will remain in the marked for closure status.
Okay. So CUSA account will be marked for closure. Once
Yes.
we transfer, then we can initiate for the closure of the account.
Yeah, so system will
So-
automatically close when the day on which the account will become due. So you don't have to initiate any separate closure for that.
Okay. Okay, sir. That's it. from my
Okay, so what basically what CDSL would be doing, actually it is for the interest of other brokers also. So whatever CUSA accounts which are opened in CDSL, so on the date of release, that is on 31st March EOD, will be initiating a closure for all these CUSA accounts, so that what will happen from 1st April onwards, no fresh credits can come to these CUSA accounts. Okay, so account will be marked for closure, no fresh credits will come, and subsequently the day on which the securities will become nil in these respective CUSA accounts, account will get closed. And for the accounts which are initiated for closure, but till 15th of April, if broker doesn't move the balances and make the account nil, then these accounts will be frozen. Okay, so that even debit also will not take place.
Okay, in that case, once the script is active, no sir, so we can manually transfer to the client, right?
Yes. So even if the account is initiated for closure, okay, the debit will be allowed, and wherever ISINs are active, yes, the account can be debited.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you. That's it from my. Thank you.
Yeah, Ujjwal, let us have some cutoff time decided, na? Sai, till how long should we continue?
Yes, Kishore, so we'll be ending near 6 o'clock. What I'll do is I'll lower all the hands right now. And if any question is still unanswered, because a lot of questions have been answered by the depository and exchanges, so we can take a couple of more questions. That's it.
Okay. We'll cut off by 6:15, I suppose.
Yes.
Okay, till new questions come, I have couple of questions.
Sure, please go ahead.
Yeah. So, I suppose this we'll have to do CUSPA up to the ledger debit only, right? So we may have to do some part payout directly to the client and part payout to CUSPA. Okay. And see, this ledger balance is daily changing balance. So are we supposed to do realignment of CUSPA daily with the ledger debit balance? Hello.
With respect to the debit balances, what we say, to the extent of ledger debits, if there is a ledger debit of 1 lakh rupees and you are getting a securities worth rupees 5 lakhs, for example, to the extent of debit, what we said, to the extent of debit of 1 lakh with a haircut, if let's say you have a 50% haircut, you can hold securities to the extent of 2 lakhs. If you have a debit of 1 lakh, you can hold securities up to the extent of 2 lakhs, where you will be having 50% haircut, and the balance securities of 3 lakhs can be transferred to the demat account as a free security.
Okay. But see, this ledger balance keeps on changing on a daily basis. So if on a next day the balance gets reduced, then are we supposed to release the CUSPA to that extent?
No, basis the receipts and payments, you have to transfer. In the sense, if you are allowing client to buy till next 5 days, if you're allowing client to buy an additional thing in the client ledger balances, then yes, definitely you need to realign your CUSPA holdings to be precise. So if there is any reduction in ledger debits, then you can release the securities to the client, because any securities which are pledged in your CUSPA account are not considered as margins. You can release the securities to client.
See, even without receipt payment also, because of the daily pay in payout of F&O position or intraday trading position of client, balance is going to change on a daily basis.
Okay.
So, do we suppose to realign on a daily basis at UOD, the CUSPA and ledger debit?
And that's what, as I said, you can have your own haircuts basis which you can release the securities. If additional security, let's say if instead of 2 lakhs, you are having 2.5 lakhs as a securities which are pledged to CUSPA, then also the securities valuation is not considered as margins. It is only to the extent of debit. If you are having it, then it will have some impact with you. Else, the securities which are pledged with CUSPA will have no use for you also.
No, but suppose today there is a MPM in F&O, which is going to be debited tomorrow. And today there is a surplus of CUSPA balance to that extent. Can we keep out, hold it on?
Yeah, in the sense tomorrow T+1, if you are getting that debit balance in the system, you can hold it. But the securities which will be released in the client demat account will be basis your settled ledger balances.
Yeah, that is fine. But MPM is already generated in F&O position, and it is going to be debited in tomorrow. So today EOD there is a surplus, but tomorrow there will be a debit. So
as we have categorically specified, MTM debit of F&O is not the one which need to be prima facie debited considered for holding securities in CUSA, because CUSA is for unpaid securities which are been purchased in cash. The collaterals which you are considering or taking it from the client are for the basis of the client, the securities which are being pledged in CUSPA are from the cash market payouts. If the client is trading in F&O, then there should be some kind of collateral taken from the client either in margin play by way of pledge or by in cash.
Okay.
Sir, in case of invocation, whether we can transfer that charges, invocation charges to the client?
Invocation charges to the client. I need to get back onto this.
Okay, so second question. Is the invocation mandatory on T+5? Suppose client has not paid it up, then is it compulsory to invoke, or we can let it left the CUSPA place?
If you have squared up the positions basis non-clearance of debit from the client, then you can invoke the securities and meet the settlement obligations. If you are not invoking or the client has not cleared the debit balances, if you have not sold or client has not cleared the debit balances, the securities will be transferred freely to the client demat account on settlement plus 7 days.
But it is not mandatory to compulsorily square up the position or sell it off, no?
No, in the handling of client securities, we have given the right to the trading member to liquidate the client positions till T+2+5, which is now T+1+5. Wherever client has not paid his obligation to the trading member has right to square off. If trading member is not squaring off, it is the residual risk of the trading member, and he cannot give additional exposure to the client beyond this date. And if he is not squaring off, then if there is any default, it is up to the trading member. And there cannot be additional exposure given to the client beyond T+1+5.
And some legal concerns like this pledge process is being governed by the basically, I suppose, under the provisions of contract act. Okay. So SEBI circular or any regulatory circular, when the matter goes into the legal realm in any judicial forum, the provisions of contract will prevail over the
SEBI legal and exchange legal and depository legal has deliberated onto this, and they prevailed that this can be done.
Okay. That's what they must have gone through all this.
Yes.
See, basically, Technically, if any assets is unpaid, then definitely there is title is not getting transferred and the pledge is valid. Auto pledge is also valid. Only issue is about the process. Are we, whatever process we are setting up, will it in conformity with the legal requirement? I suppose the legal department would have gone through in detail about this.
No, this has gone through in the sense that
Yeah.
is not.
Yeah, because see, otherwise is something, see, in this entire process, stake would be very high. There are a possibility of some issues getting elevated to the legal jurisdiction also. At that time, there should not be any procedural issue coming up in between.
Yeah, that should not be a problem.
Yeah.
See, I have a question for NSDL. Hello.
Yeah, go on, please.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So my question here is, if I want to figure out all my payouts which have gone, I have correctly hit the pledge request. Will I get the pledge sequence number for this from NSDL in any of the reports?
Yes, sir. Pledge sequence number will be available, sir.
And if I want to figure out the entire list of customers' details where I've done the CUSPA pledge, so from where can I get this? Because we already have a CUSPA account open with you.
So basically, you can check that out. We will be providing the report on Speedy system, so you can download it from there and you can view it.
So when this will be available, because presently we do not have any details or any formats of this, so that we can check our back office systems and integrate it.
So basically, we have shared those formats with the back office vendors, and we will also share it with the DPs as well.
So you mean to say presently the thing is still under, the product is under process?
No. We have shared the format and the development has already been done. And we will be sharing the format. See, basically it's export report, which we can provide it on the Speedy system. So if you require, then we can share the formats with you as well. So that will be beneficial for you. Otherwise, back office vendors have already finalized those reports.
Because we want a detailed, report the way you give it for collateral pledge and MTF pledge.
Okay.
Where you get an entire list of, along with the sequence number you. So that
yes,
is
it has
what
been
exactly
created
we needed.
it has been created in similar way of margin pledge reports which we are providing today.
Okay. So when will this be live, and how do I get these reports? The logins and everything?
Yes. You can log in onto the Speedy, and we will make it available. So basically from 1st April, we will be making it available on the platform.
Okay. Now how about the login and the password? How do I get those details?
See, basically it is in Speedy form, Speedy login, sir. So you must be having it, no?
Speedy we have already applied, but Speedy will be only for the transactions, right? If we want to do
No, we are providing the reports as well on the portal.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'll connect you offline for this.
Sure. No problem, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Ansari. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so we have last question from Anand Rathi.
Sir, as 3-4 questions, but many of them already answered. Just to refresh, in case RMS sold shares, then invocation to be done, and in case client sold, then normal release and then paying to be done. Hello.
Yes, sir.
And CUSA stock can be transferred after 31st March also to the customers.
Depositories to confirm onto that.
Yeah. After 31st, you can transfer securities from CUSA to client.
And any stock which is pledged in the CUSPA account, that will not be the part of daily holding reporting.
Sorry, I missed your point, sir. Can you please repeat?
For stock which is pledged as a in the CUSPA account, that will be not part of the daily reporting.
It will not be part of daily reporting in holding statement submissions.
Okay. And second, any impact on the segregation report? If the stock CUSA, this CUSPA account pledge is there, any impact on segregation report?
As of now, we don't have clearing corporations on call. We need to get back once we get a clarity from clearing corporations.
And with respect to margin consideration, you have already said that you will check with the SEBI.
Yeah, as we said, till today, the clarity is it is not considered towards margin. But based on the representation which we received yesterday from members and member associations, we have taken it up with SEBI that till the extent of ledger debit, clear ledger debit of the client, securities which are pledged in CUSPA account should be considered as availability of margins. If there is a ledger debit of 1 lakh rupees and securities which are pledged in after haircut securities which are pledged with CUSPA account is more than 1 lakh, then up to the extent of 1 lakh debit, it has to be considered. Minimum of debit or the CUSPA stock,
Debit or
whichever
hold,
is minimum.
whichever is lower.
Whichever is minimum, yes.
Yeah, okay. And segregation, you will come back with the CC.
Yeah, we'll have to check with CC, sir, in this.
How we will able to know?
Sorry?
How we will able to know about this?
We said that in the sense it has to be checked with CC, sir. We cannot comment on it.
Okay. Okay.
All right, I think with that question, we come to the end of our session today. Lalitji, I would request you to share the closing remarks.
So thank you, Ujjwal. Thank you so much, Sai Kiranji and Prashant Kokadiji for taking so many questions. Actually, we didn't expect so many questions on a relatively simpler topic, but it is good to notice that our members are so active and vigilant that even the minutest of the questions they have raised in this meeting. And I'm sure that they've got all the answers correctly. So much of pain taken by all the MIIs, CDSL, BSE, NSE, NSDL. And wherever we think that clarifications are pending from either side, from any of these MIIs or from SEBI, we hope that we get the clarification as early as possible. And thank you, Team BBF. Thank you, Kishorji, especially for being on toes because Uttamji is at Bangalore and he's for a voluntary detoxification at Jindal's Naturopathy. Still being from there, he has been able to actually cover the presentation. So as always, we are thankful to him also. So once again, thank you all the participants for being with us for such a long session. And thank you once again, CDSL, BSE, NSE and Team NSDL. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.